Everybody, it's Frank with the Deep End and How to Swimming Pool. I'm with Ben Forrest with POW Lighting. Break out your Australian to English interpreter. Ben, how you doing?
Pretty good, Frank. Yourself?
Doing well. POW Lighting has been in the U.S. for how many years?
Oh, more than 20.
More than 20.
More than 20 years. We've always done a lot of business in the US, but largely it's been on the high-end market where our strip lighting's kind of featured.
Okay.
In
So,
fact,
so this is strip lighting for like under coping?
this is under coping. So this one here is an example of your coping lighting, under coping lighting. If you imagine this is not a clear acrylic stone, but a limestone or whatever you might use.
Right.
We install this now in the coping so that what happens is when you have your tile band here like this, we're now projecting light and lighting up the tile band as a feature. In the past, we've always wall mounted the strip and builders will wall mount it and then it shines outwards, so the light is the feature.
Okay.
The idea of the coping mounted is you don't see the source of the light, it just projects light on the tile band, so the tile band becomes the feature.
Fiber optic or is it LED?
It's LED. It's LED.
LED.
These are LEDs. In these strips, there are individual LEDs all through it. But over the last 3 or 4 years, we've developed some amazing diffusers that hide all the individual LEDs and give you this pure.
It looks like
crisp.
a solid light. It looks like a fluorescent.
It looks like a lightsaber.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It looks exactly like a lightsaber. Very flexible.
So that's the bracket.
This is a polycarbonate mounting track. So unlike the old fiber optics where you just effectively glued the light in using silicons.
Yeah, and then it falls down 2 weeks later?
4 weeks later.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't
I've never seen
short
one that only lasted 2.
Okay.
This is designed that the light fixture, the polycarbonate track is permanently installed. You can see it here, permanently installed in the slot, and the light fixture then just literally clips into place.
So the actual coping stone has to be notched.
That's right.
This goes under the coping stone. It does not stick to the wall.
No, it actually is installed inside the coping stone. So if
You don't see that
I'm
ugly
not sure
bracket.
if this is going to pick up, but you can see in the cutaway, the version there, that's the light inside the stone. Only the lens is hanging out from underneath the coping stone.
That's awesome.
Isn't it?
That's-
Very, very discreet.
What kind of control do you have with it? I mean, you choose blue and you always got blue?
So you can change the colours, and notice there's no 5 seconds of darkness as we change between colours.
It's
As
so
with
you're
all
just,
of our controls, it's just
you're just
rubbing your thumb around a colour wheel and select whichever shade of blue you like.
Right.
Yeah, I think we have about 2 million blues. Our lights are powered by one of our drivers, not a transformer. A driver is both a transformer and a controller.
Okay.
So these connect into one of our drivers. Our drivers, you can then use our controls via a remote control or our app, smartphone app, or
you can do it on a phone too.
Yeah, we have an app, and the next month it'll be Google enabled and also Alexa enabled, so you'll be able to say, "Hey Google, turn on my pool lights." "Hey Google, dim them down." Alternatively, if we've got builders out there who are already building on a project that might be a Hayward, Penta or a Jandy project, and they want to add some strip light, whether it be perimeter strip or whether it be a strip under one of their shear descents, we can give them a strip and a transformer or a driver that they just connect straight into the existing automation system, and we can clone it into Hayward, Penta or Jandy. It'll synchronise with all the existing Hayward, Penta or Jandy lights that are in the project. It'll synchronise perfectly.
So you don't have to buy the Jandy version, the Pentair version, the Hayward version.
No.
Yours will talk to any of them and conform.
All of it.
So that's the thing about you Australians. Y'all conform.
No, not always. Not always. In this case we do. In this case we do.
Okay.
We're not very good rule followers, which is why we got sent to Australia in the first place. I think.
Well, that's the rumor.
I
That's the
I
rumor.
had to say it before you did.
So strip lighting's what got y'all launched into the lighting business.
This is what we became known for. Now, of all the strip you see anywhere in the globe on swimming pools, I should say, of all the UL approved strip that you see anywhere in the globe, more than 90% of that's POW.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay, so we are the company that produces strip lighting and always have been the company that produces strip lighting.
All right.
So come with me.
All right.
So these are our more traditional pool lights. This is our nicheless range. This light, and this light all go into an 1.5-inch threaded fitting, and we determine which light we're going to use by how much light we want on a particular project.
Okay. So they're all 1.5-inch just got a little more. The larger ones just stick out a little further,
That's
but it's
right.
not terrible. It's not terrible. It's what, maybe an inch?
So this is our version. This is our most common version, the Trio Mini. You would use this anywhere. You've used Pentair Micro Brights, Hayward 320s, or the Jandy Color Logic, the 12-watt Color Logic. This is a 4-watt light, even though it compares to the 12-watt
It's
lights.
really bright for 4 watts.
It is, and the reason it's only 4 watts is because our lights don't run hot. So all of these lights, as you can see, can be installed and run all day, their entire life, well above water, and never get wet, and the life expectancy is still 6 to 10 years.
So they don't run hot. It's like the Australian men.
Kinda. Not all of them.
All right.
So this light here is a little unusual. It doesn't go into the 1.5" fixture. This is what we call our Trio Micro. I generally introduce it to builders as saying this is going to be your favourite light, and this is what it looks like.
Holy cow.
It's a 1-watt light. So 4 of these are equivalent to a Hayward 320, a 12-watt Color Logic, or a Micro Bright, or our Trio Mini. And we use these typically in sun shelves. And we'll put these only 2 inches below the water level in a sun shelf, every 2 feet.
And you're not in the plaster.
We're not in the plaster, we're in the tile work. But most importantly, they're every 2 feet. So it doesn't matter where the client puts their ledge lounges and their little cafe tables on their
You're lighting up the whole patio.
We're going to light up everything around it. Caves, grottos, waterfalls, anywhere where you want just a little splash of light.
And is it a 3/4 inch? Is that what it goes in?
It slip fits into a 1-inch Schedule 40 PVC. Schedule 40 PVC.
I'm sorry, I got to bust your balls.
Given the PVC mount, it's often used in waterfalls or somewhere where you can then hit the PVC with a heat gun and bend it, and just to get the right direction on this light and adjust it.
Okay.
So it gives you a lot of flexibility. And they're very inexpensive.
Retail. Ballpark.
Retail of about $350, $400
Per light?
per light,
And you could take them all to one transformer. And
all back to one driver.
okay, and then again, you have the color control with the remote or the app.
Yes, you do.
Same as the world's simplest remote.
Dimming is standard.
It's not choose a color and go to it. It is and you can dim them.
The reality is, Frank, I mean, when we sort of first started talking to clients about this, we'd say, we've got 16 million colors. We are really proud of that. That's pretty cool. What the client likes most is they like the instant color change.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing for them. And once a client sees these change colors and the way they change colors, 5 seconds of darkness is no longer acceptable to that client.
No, it's not.
They won't take that even if it's offered free.
Well, a lot of people don't change the colors just because they don't want to go through trying to figure out which one they like, and it takes 20 different changes.
That's right. The second thing that's most important to them is the dimming. The 16 million colors actually comes third.
16 million dimmed. I think there's some other dimmable LEDs, but most are not dimmable.
Some of them are, but most of them aren't.
Right.
The key thing about our lighting system is we follow the same lighting principles as the rest of the world are using in commercial LED, multicolor LED lighting. And that is RGB, full wire, true RGB lighting.
Okay.
That's the only way you can get the seamless color changes, whereas the driver is blending that light live. So as we rub our thumb around the color wheel, the driver is blending power down the red, green, and
Instead of having
green and blue
to switch
color
off,
channels.
switch on, switch off.
That's right. And it just by blending the voltage down each of those color channels, it's blending the amount of color that's being put in it, which is kind of like Picasso squeezing a lot of red, a little bit of blue, and a fair bit of green to create a certain color.
That's awesome. So this is your what would be considered nicheless.
These are our
light.
nicheless lights.
Okay.
This is an example of one of our drivers. So we have a range of inputs here. This is actually our digital DMX driver. So this one's designed so that we can synchronize our lights to the beat of music and make them dance to the beat of the music.
Is that an add-on or
this is an option for anyone who's using PAL lights. Every PAL light is DMX compatible out of the box. It just depends on what drivers they want to control it with as to what functions they want to
so
be able to
pick
offer.
the lights, then pick the driver if you want to do.
Correct.
That's
We have
love it.
we have drivers that are single zone drivers. We have dual zone drivers. So for builders who are building your classic pool spa combo, one driver can operate two different zones.
Okay.
So your pool light's on one zone, your spa light on a second zone, operated from the same remote control. I'm not sure if this one works like that. So that's zone 1. That's zone 2, independent color and dimming. If you want to resynchronize them, we just double click zone 1 and we operate it all as a single zone again.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Very simple. This is, as I said, an example of a driver, but we have drivers that are single zone drivers as low as 16 watts. This is a 500 watts driver. Typically, you wouldn't be getting up into high power drivers like this unless you're incorporating a lot of strip light on your project.
Or a lot of the tanning ledge lights.
Well, they're only a 1 watt, so you can fit 400 of those lights can be operated by one of these.
400.
400 of them, yeah. This is a 4 watt light, so we a
can only
500
do
watt
100.
driver, we're going to take that to 400 watts, so we can only do 100 of those.
Only 100?
Only 100.
God, competition's going to eat you up.
I have a project. I have a project in Orlando at the moment. We've got 148 light fixtures in one swimming pool.
That's
So,
good. I bet it's
We
incredible.
laugh about this, but there's a lot of people who are putting more than 100 lights in a pool.
That's great. All right. So what's
Come with me
next?
this way. So what we've got over here is the more traditional pool light, or the large fixture lights. This light here and this light here, the spa light and the pool light, these will go into any of the standard, when I say the standard niches, pool and spa niches, that is the hook and screw style niche.
Right.
Hook and screw into place. So any Hayward, Penta or Jandy hook and screw niche they'll go in. The Hayward niches do, some of the newer style have a couple of lugs inside that need to be just removed slightly. It's about 5 minutes work with a Dremel.
Okay.
But largely they fit in pretty seamlessly. Like all of our lights, instant
That's
colours
right.
and dimming is the name of the game. Unlike a lot of the LED lights out there though, again, they don't run cold, so you can put your hand on them. These will run the life expectancy, like all of our lights, 6 to 10 years. This one here, in true white mode, brightness, you can just about signal Batman with this.
It's bright.
It is bright.
That is bright. I don't know how that's coming across on video, but that is freaking bright. It's like spotlight.
So as with all of our lights, or as with pretty much most lights in the US, to replace these, we pull out the old light fixture, pull out the cable, pull a new cable and a new light. Like
Or
all of
new
our
installation.
or in a new installation. Typically, we don't plan these in pools. We use these as retro replacements for pools that already have large fixtures.
All right.
We very rarely design pools or put light plans together with these fixtures unless they're already in place.
Okay.
Okay. We
Could
prefer
you go with the smaller?
We prefer the nicheless lights
Okay.
for the high-end projects.
And these low.
These are low voltage lights. All of our lights are 24 volt DC. So our driver serves two purposes. It's both a transformer to reduce 110 AC down to 24 volt DC, and then also provides the control. So when I'm operating this or I'm operating my app, I'm actually talking to the driver, not to the individual lights. So the biggest benefit that a lot of builders will find in using our lights is our lights can't get out of sync because of voltage drop the way two-wire lights can.
And that's a huge issue.
That's a massive issue.
We're doing a lot of warranty, and it's not just poor performance, it destroys the light.
Yeah, absolutely.
So which is expensive.
Very. Typically our lights, because our lights don't have the computers in them that the two-wire lights have, most of our lights you're going to find between 10 to 30% cheaper than the equivalents in two-wire lights.
And you don't have to buy a transformer. Your driver, I cannot remember driver. The driver, you just have a driver, which is also the transformer.
That's right.
And then the remote speaks to the driver.
To the driver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will these lights also work with Jandy, Pentair?
Absolutely. All of our lights do. That's not the light that talks to Hayward or Pentair or Jandy. It's actually our driver. So these lights would go back to a driver, and that driver would be connected into the relay of the automation system. And then inside the driver, there's some little dip switches. And we just set it into Hayward, Pentair or Jandy mode, and the lights receive the pulses from the automation system. And based on what program they're in, whether it's Hayward, Pentair and Jandy, and how many light pulses they get. The driver will then put our lights into that colour or that colour show to synchronise with all the rest of the lights on the project.
Can the lights work independent of each other? Can the driver tell this light if they're on the same circuit? I believe it was Jandy there for a while had where like you could have the color race around the pool.
So we can do that. Yes, we can.
You can?
We can. We'll come to that in a minute when we talk about DMX.
Okay.
So,
All right.
So, well, one of the new things that we've launched here are these lights. These lights may look exactly the same as the pool and spa light we've just spoke about. Where they're different is these lights don't require a driver. They operate straight off a remote. Each light comes with its own remote, and this remote talks directly to the light. The reason for these lights is, and the service guys are going to love this, all of those lights that are out in the market for a big pool light or a small spa light that have failed and can't be replaced because the cable can't be removed without digging up the yard, these lights are what we call sonar lights. So what we do is we pull out the old faulty light fixture, cut the cable right at the back of the light fixture, then attach one of our field connect plugs to that cable that then connects to this light. So in about 10 or 15 minutes, we can remove an old faulty light, replace it with one of these state-of-the-art lights using the existing cable. And a client who's been told that they can't have light there unless they dig up their yard to expose these wires has the most state-of-the-art light anywhere in the world. Like all of our lights, 16 million colours and dimming. This light's different from our full wire lights in that we can also put it into true white mode and slide, let's brighten that up, slide from cool white to warm white or anywhere in between. The remote gives you up to 8 zones. So if you are replacing lights where in a situation where there might be 2 pool lights and a spa light in the project, you could connect the 2 pool lights to zone 1 and the spa light to zone 2. Of course, you're buying 3 lights, so you're going to have 3 remotes. You keep 2 as a spare and keep this one out, and it will control the pool lights on a separate zone to the spa lights. So you can have your spa light on, your pool
you don't
off,
have to, okay.
different colours, different dimming levels, one on, one off, whatever you like.
So you can replace a typical light, but they're not high voltage though, they're low voltage.
That's right. So the Field Connect cable that we're using to connect to that existing 2-wire cable is UL approved, but only for low voltage. So if you are replacing an incandescent bulb in an environment that's 110 volts, you'll also need to go to the other end of the cable where it comes from the breaker, pull it out and put either a 12 volt AC, 12 volt DC or 24 volt DC transformer in there and convert the whole line to a low voltage
But not
line.
the driver. We don't do drivers.
You don't need a driver, you just need a
just
basic
a voltage transformer.
Anywhere, areas like Florida, Oklahoma, the 2 states that jump to mind where low voltage is the go, no amendments that need to be made. Doesn't matter whether it's 12 volt AC, 12 volt DC or 24 volt DC. Our light will just adapt. Now these are not available. These are what you're seeing here, a prototype strength for the purpose of the show. We're taking pre-orders for these. So if anyone's interested they need to reach out to Powell and ask us about these and how they can start placing pre-orders for these.
Y'all got replacement bulbs
Yes.
for full-size pool lights.
This is for the full-size pool light only. We cannot physically make a bulb that will fit into a spa fixture, but for a pool fixture, this is the good solution for replacing a faulty bulb in a can.
And these are fairly inexpensive. We sell a lot of these.
Yeah, these retail typically for somewhere between $300 and $400.
Yeah.
But unlike the other LED replacement bulb options out there, this has a full 3-year warranty, comes with the remote, provides the same functions that you just saw on the sonar fixtures. This is a sonar bulb. So dimming.
And that's talking directly to the bulb.
We are talking directly to the bulb here. 16 million colours. I should say we're talking via a sonar remote, which we have patented. No one else has been able to really develop a reliable remote that can talk through water to a bulb. The sonar remote's been amazing. Like the others, we can create multiple bulbs or multiple zones with bulbs. We often actually sell 1 or 2 of these to a client for his pool and then another 2 of them for the floodlight fixtures under the feet of his house.
So these could be
Like-
out of water.
Like all of our bulbs, like all of our lights, they don't run hot, so they don't need to be cooled. They can be put out in the open air and they'll still last for as long as they're supposed to.
I love these. We sell a lot of these. It's a great fixture.
Absolutely. If people are wanting them, particularly retailers or service guys, you buy a box of 9 and we'll give you a display stand. If you put that on your counter at your retail store where someone can play with it, you'll see.
By the way, one of ours got knocked off. I need a.
You're going to need to
I
replace
need a
it.
display.
Frank's got a cheap one going, guys. It doesn't work though.
So the plan is, client calls up, we want to replace, we want to put an LED bulb in that does colors. The plan is we're going to go with this. We get out there, we pull the fixture out of the wall, and it's rotten all to hell.
It's leaking.
Okay, now we go plan B, where we do the.
Plan B would be to put a full fixture in and a driver, okay?
Right, but I can't pull this cord
But if you
because
can't
it's
pull
nasty.
the cord, then yes, the sonar light. The
Okay,
sonar.
so choice 1, choice 2, and all the functionality.
All the same functionality.
Maybe not quite as bright.
It's nowhere near. This is a 9-watt bulb. We can only fit so many LEDs into a
Right.
fixture that can still
but
fit in the
plenty,
can.
the ones we've sold, the clients have really, raved about how bright it is, brighter than their old incandescent.
Yeah.
So,
Depends on what they're replacing.
well, if they're, yeah,
If they've got a 300 watt, it rates along. And if they're replacing 500 watts, they might find it's not quite as bright.
but it's bright enough.
But this is a 9-watt light. This is a 30-watt light. So
Okay.
if this isn't bright
One
enough for
third the
them,
brightness.
then they replace the fixture and they can signal Batman.
All right, you were talking about
Oh, the
fixture.
Fuel Connect.
Yeah, the Fuel
so,
Connect.
So the Fuel Connect cable is UL approved. Okay, we spent 2 years designing it, so it's UL approved. I don't have a live version here.
Now, those are on pre-order right now?
They are on pre-order, Frank. This is our regular plug that's molded, and this is what our Fuel Connect plug looks like.
All right, so that just attaches to the existing light cord,
Yep.
and then you buy the fixture for that.
No, so this comes when they buy the light, okay, to replace a sonar light, whether it's a spa or a pool. It comes the light fixture, the quick connect or the Fuel Connect cable, and the remote. Everything they need. If they're replacing a high voltage version, they order a high voltage light, and you get the light, the Fuel Connect cable, the remote, and we'll send them a 24 volt DC transformer. They have to go low voltage. The Fuel Connect plug is only UL approved for low voltage.
Okay, all right,
12 volt AC or up to 40 volt DC.
okay. And these are UL listed.
They are
so
UL approved.
They've been,
But they must, if they're replacing a high voltage light, they've got to put a transformer on it
okay,
so that the new light is only a low voltage.
but not a driver.
No, they don't need a driver.
Not a driver because we're using the sonar remote technology.
Correct. Do you want to see one more thing?
What's that?
Our digital strips.
Oh, digital strips.
So our digital strips. This is the other new thing that we launched here. You notice the way the lights are bouncing up and down these strips.
Yes.
So we're seeing it in white mode at the moment, but we can create whatever color pattern you want or a combination of colors. You can make a rainbow run up and down. We can make them flash. We can do whatever it wants.
This is out above water.
This is above water or below water, so
Either way.
it's all UL listed for wet areas.
So you can have lights chasing around the pole.
Correct.
That is cool.
So
And
this-
now that I'm sure that requires a driver.
It does. That's one of our DMX drivers.
Okay.
So,
Those are awesome.
aren't they?
All right. And again, if they go under the coping, the coping has to be notched. That's not a big deal.
No, that's not. It's pretty simple.
Okay.
The other big thing, in conjunction with the DMX, is our landscaping range. Again, this is brand new. Okay, so this has just been launched. Unlike most other landscape lighting, this is high quality lighting. It actually incorporates our existing nicheless light fixtures
Okay.
straight into a multitude of different landscaping fixtures.
Okay.
So, because all of our pool lights can be above or below water, we're actually putting lights that are designed to be permanently immersed into an outdoor light fixture, and they're going to last a lot longer than your typical outdoor lighting would. The big benefit is these will integrate seamlessly straight into the same system and the same control system that we're using around a pool. So now we can extend the lighting plan beyond the pool and the surrounding areas right out through the landscape lighting.
One remote can control everything.
One remote, we can create up to 8 different lighting zones. So you might have a mixture of coloured landscape lights, then warm white landscape lights. You might want them on 3 different zones, all controlled through the same interface that they use for their pool.
All right. Sounds awesome.
We deal directly with builders. We will help them find what they need and plan, particularly when they're using our lighting system for the first or second time. But they can buy our products through pretty much any distribution point in the US.
Okay, so we can get them for Pool Corp, Heritage.
Absolutely, wherever they want. Any of the smaller boutique suppliers. If not, they can reach out to me and we get in touch with their distributor of choice and we can open the door for them. The sonar light with the Field Connect cable.
Field Connect cable.
They are on pre-order. They need to reach out to us to place a pre-order for delivery in about 3 to 4 months' time.
3 to 4 months.
They're UL listed, they're UL approved.
They just have to be manufactured.
We need to go through the manufacturing process, and we need to produce lights. We need to produce a lot of lights.
Yes.
So we're looking for pre-orders on these because we think that they're going to be really cool, but we're waiting to see if there's genuine.
I tell you what, I've had about 6 this year, easy.
Yeah.
That it would have saved us a whole lot of trouble.
I think if you talk to any decent service company out there, they've probably got dozens of people that they've told we can't do anything with your lights.
Sorry, you just can't have a light.
So what we're hoping to do, or what we will do, is actually send out some marketing materials to the pool companies so they can send this out to those clients. If they can find the clients that they've said that to, we can send them some flyers. And
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Frank.
As always,
it's been a pleasure.
Enjoyed talking to you.
All right.
And we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.